Hello and welcome to the Lost Art Podcast. I'm Paul and I'm here with Gar.
That's me.
And today we have an episode that is influenced by what's happening this week, which is Pride Week. So we decided to do an episode called Music of the Rainbow.
La, la, la.
We picked our favourite songs from the LGBTQ plus community artists. It's a community, but artists, yeah. And we are shining a little bit of a spotlight on them in this episode. This is the first Pride Week, which people can't really properly celebrate in public.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of Zoom things going on and DJ nights and stuff. The stuff that's happening kind of in every community. But yeah, they're not allowed out in the streets. I wonder when they're allowed to have like marches and stuff again. Parades.
Yeah, because
we've had protests. Do you know what I mean? Sure. Then again, the parades, to be fair, are more a lot of them are kind of commercially sponsored and stuff now as well. So you're not going to find companies that are willing to put their neck on the line and get behind something that's kind of breaking any sort of quarantine or lockdown rules, are you? Yeah,
it's mad. I just think, I don't know. I think everything is just getting delayed. This is no different. I mean, I've seen a lot of my mates who are gay online. They're just posting up, we'll hit it harder when we can go back.
Yeah.
Because of last year's Pride.
The day this comes out as well is the first day of phase 3. So from today, you'll be able to go to the pub and have a pint for an hour and 5 minutes, as long as you have a bit of a meal. There was an announcement, as we're recording, this is a couple of days before Monday, and they put an announcement out today just saying that they were going to stagger phase 3, apparently. They were going to do it in blocks of, a week and a half, but now they're just saying fucking Monday, whatever, crack, open the fucking gates, let everybody at it,
Yeah, I do want to point, because Liverpool just won the Premier League. Just to throw that in there.
Yeah, you'll be able to get a haircut as well.
Yeah.
A haircut and a point to celebrate Liverpool winning the league. You'll be a happy chappy today.
Yeah, I am. I will be. Yeah, just a haircut and a point. And I mean, I guess people can have little mini Pride meetups if it's.
I think it's like a max of 6 if they're from the same household or close friends or so. I don't know what. Nobody knows what the fucking rules are, and the rules are all going to be thrown out the door in a couple of days.
Yeah. Well, I hope. I don't know. It's a massive, massive, massive important event every year. Then you have the people go, "Why can't there be straight Pride Day?" Oh God!
Absolutely.
Imagine writing that. Do you know what though? I know they don't think that. They don't care.
No, that's literally just an online contrarian bollocks thing to say.
Yeah,
it's like Liverpool won the league today, so everybody who supports Man United or whoever. Now I'm not a football guy, so I know fuck all about this. But anybody who's a Man United person or a Man City person or whatever, whoever your enemies are, they've muted all you guys and are deleting you and giving out. Oh, if they listen to these pricks now for it's the same fucking shit. It's like International Women's Day. When's Men's Day? There is a Man's Day.
There is a Man's Day.
Yeah,
you just didn't know, or you didn't care.
Of course, because fucking every day is Man's Day. I'm living my best life out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest with you.
I'm eating Cocoa Pops at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just in the last 2 hours, I ate an entire Tesco Tiger roll, and I'm going to die. An entire Tesco, it was the size of a large baby, and I ate it all.
That'll hit you in the stomach.
I don't give a fuck. I've got no work to go. I don't give a shit.
It'll actually exit you like a tiger would.
I had some of it with soup, and it was so fresh and so airy and light inside that the soup disintegrated it. It returned it to some sort of roux, like flour and water. And it wasn't great now with the soup, I have to say. But just a big ignorant sandwich or it with big lumps of bread in it. Oh yeah.
If the bread is too soft, it's not good with soup. It's unfortunate. It's a double-edged sword. It's amazing bread, but it's too soft for soup.
Yeah.
Anyway, gay soup. Is that what we're talking about?
Fucking gay, the gayest of all soups. That's
we wanted to just shine a little spotlight on we've done stuff like this sort of before. We did Women of Rap. Yep. We're not trying to be mad woke around. It's not really us. But at the same time, if anyone has a problem with us doing this, just turn it off and fuck off. In fact, turn off all the podcast. Don't listen to us anymore.
Yeah, please.
Don't want you.
We want to get this over.
Fuck off.
Yeah. We want this to be over.
We can narrow our fan base down to people who are not scumbags. That'd be great. Although all our fans out there, I know for a fact, no one listens to this podcast. I don't think is a bigot or a fucking too much.
Nah, a couple of fucking Egypts, all right.
Yeah. But if you're super over woke, you're thinking, why are these two straight
over woke? That's good. I like over woke.
Over woke.
Yeah.
Why are they doing an episode on Pride Week? Is this some sort of way to make themselves more popular? Listen, you stop listening as well, actually, because you're not going to like it either.
I'm not into over woke or bigots, really. Can we not,
exactly.
Can we not just have people with normal opinions, like?
This was me and you going, should we do an episode for Pride Week?
Pride, like,
and that was as simple as it was. That's we just let's do that.
I bet you we do a fucking Halloween one as well, you cunts. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get a New Year's one, you're gonna get a Christmas one, you're gonna get a fucking same as every other podcast and every other event. If you go into town on Pride Week, most pubs have Pride things on. If you go into town Halloween week, most pubs and clubs have Halloween stuff on. This is what you do. You know what I mean? This is what
we're celebrating it.
Yeah. I'm not giving out about it. I tell you, this is one of the weird ones for me, right? That everything on this list, this is like instantly click, 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 click. I didn't have to go rooting. I didn't have to go digging. I knew exactly who I wanted from the start. Like I remember when we came up with the idea last week, within like 5 minutes, I had my 6 allocated kind of tracks, just bam, 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 bam. Fucking bang.
I had to. It's always good when I have to narrow it down. Like
usually you have to narrow it down. But this one, I just knew, bam, Now there's a load more, but these are like the ones that are like I listen to on the reg. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not a case of being.
Well, it's interesting one. Like I wanted to do just a really super simple one of like, is there any artists, LGBTQ plus artists that we listen to all the time? Yeah, and just talk about them for a bit. But then I was like, fuck, there was people I really wanted to talk about that aren't even around anymore and that were important. And it got deeper and deeper and deeper. So I broke my own rule of just making a simple happy la 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 and not getting too much into things. But it kind of struck me that like we should really talk about how tough it was for somebody. Like, there's a lot of these artists coming out as gay now. It's not as easy, but it's not as hard as it was in, I don't know, even the 80s or 90s.
Oh yeah, like every year that passes, things get a little bit more kind of streamlined, a little bit more accepted.
I hope so, yeah. I hope so. But you'll see you'll probably hear some of the struggles or something like that in this, maybe. But without further ado, who is your first song from Music of the Rainbow?
My first one was a band called Boy Sets Fire, who are an American kind of post-hardcore band from Delaware that were formed in 1994. I've always loved Boy Sets Fire. They had a weird sound, and there was an album called After the Eulogy that came out in the year 2000 that when it came out I was fucking obsessed with it. I was obsessed with it. It just had this weird, it was this lovely combination of kind of that post-hardcore thing where it's heavy but it's not me-head stupid. And but it also had kind of chugga bullshit, but also had kind of cool little proggy bits in it as well.
Is it Limp Bizkit?
No, far from Limp Bizkit. I don't know how the fuck you'd explain this. These guys would be maybe closer to someone like Snapcase that we've covered on the podcast before. They would have toured an awful lot with bands like Snapcase and Refused and shit like that. This song,
I always get them mixed up with Boy Hits Car.
Boy Hits Car, yeah.
For some reason, who are, I don't think, anything related to them at all.
No, nothing. There was a great band from Galway years ago who had the best fucking band name ever, and they were called The Boy Who Hit Is Dead.
Oh, that's dark,
isn't it? I was after that ad. Do you remember the ad that used to be on TV about the boy? It was I think it was. Can I tell you about my life?
Oh, that's fucking Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, and they use that music, and it's your man who like I don't know, he hits like a hump in the road or something and goes flying over a hedge and hits somebody, and then
rolls over. And geez.
And then the ad, I think at the end of it ends with like some copper saying the boy who hit is dead, and then the ad is over. It's like never ever drink and drive. So they named themselves after that. So I always like once a band has the name Boy in it, I'm like fucking they all kind of get lumped in together. But Boy Sets Fire were still are a kind of a hardcore post-hardcore band from Delaware, which is the worst place in America. I don't care what anybody says. I've been to Delaware. It's fucking. I was attacked by white supremacists in Delaware. I had pitbulls set on me by white supremacists in Delaware. Some of the craziest fucking experiences of my life playing gigs in Delaware, and it's a mad place. But the vocalist for Boy Sets Fire, his name is Nathan Gray.
Right.
The band themselves are like kind of an anti-capitalist, like radically left-wing band, super left-wing, super lefty. Very kind of political, but not me-head stupid political. Because Nathan Gray was gay, he was kind of always worked that spectrum of things into the lyrics, and they always made sure that the band would play.
Yeah, of course it's going to come out. Yeah,
of course. They'd end up kind of playing fundraisers, and he himself in his private life does an awful lot of work on that circuit, raising awareness. But he was born in 1972 in Delaware as well, but he was raised by like a super religious family, and apparently it fucked him up. And he's given interviews saying that like until the age of like 19, 20, he was like literally afraid of people that like smoke cigarettes and listened to rock music. Like that's how.
Isn't it mad that there's places like that in America? Yep. Like even in Ireland, we think like in the 90s, I even knew families like that, but now there's no one like that. I can't think of people that are like that now. That are that mental, that
far out.
There's places still like that in America. Absolutely still like
that. But yeah, until he was like 19, 20, he just said he'd see someone like smoking a cigarette or drinking a beer or listening to rock music or talking about sex, anything like that. He was just like Jesus Christ. Like he actually thought that this person was the living incarnation of the devil. And he was deathly afraid of them. He said that, and then kind of when he kind of wised up a little bit around the age of 20, he said he spent the next kind of 10, 15 years just in a daze of fucking sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like basically,
just an absolute awakening.
Yeah.
Is it like this? It's probably like that in Equilibrium, where he puts on the music for the first time and starts crying. He's like, "Gee, what is this?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, he spent the next couple of years just fucking literally going absolutely fucking batshit mad. He ended up becoming like a fucking Satanist after he knocked all of it on the head, gave up drinking, gave up smoking, gave up all this type of stuff.
Right.
Ended up becoming a Satanist.
He had a lot to catch up on, man.
Exactly. Well, that's what he said. He said he had the way he said is that most people start experimenting with like alcohol and drugs around kind of 13, 14. He said, but like all those years, those formative years for him were spent in like kind of hiding the fact that he was gay from his religious family, from his friends, from people in the bands, in his early bands. Yeah. And then eventually he kind of found the hardcore scene, found that like nobody gives a shit about what you are in the hardcore scene as long as you're kind of sound. The hardcore scene has always been very inclusive like that, They'd almost welcome outsiders because it makes them look better, you know what I mean? And
I know, and I know the rock community is supposed to be.
It's not though.
Like it's not though. It's not open arms. No. And in fact, there's only two types of music in general that are less welcoming to gay people, and that's probably hip hop and country.
Yes, they are having none of it.
And after that, I have to say it's rock because pop. Yeah, classical music
formed on it.
Like, they've definitely been more open. Now, glam, okay, maybe. No, but rock, I like a lot of rockers I know, mad homophobic, man.
Yeah. It's which is mental. We're going to cover a couple of bands that like they can't hide away from it. You know what I mean? Like it's part of their fucking system. In the hardcore scene, like I said, Boy Sets Fire were always very, very well looked upon, kind of musically. The fact that he was gay was never an issue. It wasn't even brought up in interviews that often. It was only rare. Apparently, it was only mostly like European magazines and European websites and stuff that would ever even bring that up. Most of the kind of American hardcore and punk magazines had never bothered their arse talking about it. But yeah, so he does an awful lot.
That could be seen as a good thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't even like it's crazy. Like maybe they weren't shying away for it. Like, I'm not saying he said that, but like maybe it just actually didn't matter. That's the utopia you get to that stage where it's like, oh, I didn't know they were guys. Like, you won't even say something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because
you just really say nothing at all.
It just doesn't matter. When you should not turn at all. Listen, that was Nathan Gray from Boy Sets Fire. I've been listening to them for years. I've been listening to them way before I even read an interview or an article stating the guy was gay. What's the matter? It's a shit hot band. If you like kind of hardcore and you like punk, you like heavy music, this song is it's a little dinger. It's a little kind of, listen, it's a fucking hardcore, post-hardcore song. It's not going to set the world on fire. But if you need some like fucking chug of bullshit to lift weights to, or run for the bus, you know what I mean? The fucking Boy Sets Fire have you covered. Who is your first one?
My first one is Them Are Us Too. One of my favourite band names. Again, I love that band name, Them Are Us Too. The song is called Eudaimonia. And these were a dark wave dream pop from California. Just two of them, just a duo of Kenny Ashlin and Cash Askew. They kind of got together out of their love for dark 80s synth music. I wonder why I picked them. And Sisters of Mercy and even Dead Can Dance kind of stuff as well. Now, Cash Askew identified as transgender and used feminine pronouns. She was also gay. She's a girlfriend. And Them Are Us Two's music is it's just deadly. It's just fucking deadly. It really is. It's that kind of, I can't get enough of that dark wave dream pop kind of stuff. I just can't get enough of it. Unless it's, some of it is like super dragged out and I can't deal with it. I need to be like entertained by it as well. It can't just go, I don't know. Do you know that floaty stuff that every song is like a pastiche of just, and the guitars are all washy? I can do that, but it has to be structured, and that's what these guys do really well.
Yeah, there's nothing. A lot of that kind of dream poppy shoegaze stuff. If it's too wishy washy and too kind of watered down, and it's just kind of like 8 minutes of fucking
meandering.
I can't. It has to have a bit of form to it for me.
Yeah. So they're kind of the singer, Kennedy Ashling, sounds a little bit like Liz Fraser from Cocktail Twins. That's what she, and a bit like Kate Bush. She's definitely massively influenced him. She was in the band on her own before she met Cash and said Stala in the band.
Stala with me.
And Cash tried out as the guitarist, as the keyboard player, then was like, couldn't play. I've been there. I've said I can play keyboards and then done it and not really switched to guitar. Then it's like, that's your instrument for this. They released their debut album in 2005, so that was like 3 years after this, on Days Records. Days Records are the same people who have Drab Majesty, who we mentioned a few times, and they're
great. They're
really big now.
Yeah.
They're like one of the heavy hitters now of the dark synth pop. Just so many. I don't know. I don't even know what music I'm making now, and it's not dissimilar to a lot of that. And I don't know what kind of music I'm making. Synth. What kind of dark synth?
I have a computer.
Yeah. So a year after that, tragedy struck, unfortunately, when Askew died in the Ghost Ship warehouse fire. Now, Ghost Ship, this was huge at the time. The Ghost Ship...
I thought you were about to say they died on a ghost ship. And I was like, what?
I know,
How can you die twice?
I know, right?
Continue.
It's an artist space for alternative creatives in Oakland. And 36 people died due to a fire caused by a faulty maintenance electrical outlets. It was never meant to be somewhere where people lived. It was a warehouse, which, honey, you wonder like why people can't live in warehouses. They're
not set up,
can't set up. They're not set up because this kind of stuff could happen.
I remember there was one place in town. It was just an artist space. I visited there a couple of times. So at the early days of the Nerdy podcast, we were thinking about getting a studio. So I went down and I knew the guy who ran the place. And there was like 40 kind of studios in this big old warehouse. And it was exactly kind of between, where was it? It was just down off Phibsborough. And there was people definitely living in there. Like, geez, there was cots in the corner and mattresses and all. And it was like to be like one bathroom on every fucking 2 floors. And
well, you see, they not only did they like have artist space, they held big gigs there as well for bands that stayed there and DJs and stuff like that. And when they checked it after the fire, like there was just stuff nailed to the walls that shouldn't have been and stuff like that, and loads of stuff going into outlets that shouldn't have been. The guy who owns
extension cords on extension cords.
The tenant and his assistant were both arrested and charged with felony involuntary manslaughter.
100%.
Which is what happens if you're presumably charging rent to a warehouse, which you don't do that stuff. In 2018. The only surviving member, Kennedy Ashton, released Amends, which features a lot of work that was to be their next album and featuring some other artists as well. She also released her own album under the name SQSR called Unreality, and that's how I found this band through that. I just happened to see a review of this Unreality and listened. It was like, that's amazing. I was like, where the hell is this girl coming from? And I read this story and the story of like, so 36 people died in that. That's kind of, I remember watching a bit of a documentary kind of thing on it. Or no, I read a big giant article. That's what it was. This massive article. And you kind of sort of feel bad for the assistant who was the one in charge of like taking money and run the place. But he didn't know anything about electronic stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a sad story. But listen to this band. They're deadly. They really are. They're only going to ever have 2 albums, unfortunately. So,
I mean, when someone kind of dies a tragic death like that, it's fucking horrific. But some bands, I think, have to have their, like, if you look at it from an artistic point of view, I think some bands are better off just shining a big bright light for a couple of albums and fucking off. You know?
And other stuff obviously comes from it as well. But anyway, that's a bit grim, but that's what happened.
It is.
Who's your next one?
My next one is Fred Schneider from the B-52s.
Yeah.
I fucking love...
Pretty sure he's gay.
Yeah, Fred Schneider's been out as gay from the fucking get-go. Like, he never hit it.
I like him, I have to say.
I love Fred Schneider. He's fucking brilliant. I love the B-52s. The B-52s, to me... B-52s have been around for a long time, since like 1976. Which is
I'm not going to lie, before I go any further, I used to hate them.
When I was a kid, same. Yeah.
Just didn't. And now I think Love Shack is a deadly song.
Fucking great song.
It's so well put together. I don't know what happened. They came out, I was like, this is shite.
See, here's the thing, right? We were too young. I bet you I did the exact same thing as you. We were too young to understand kind of that retro appeal. Like, as you get older, like, we start watching movies and watching TV shows, and we start seeing the stuff that they're basing their entire look and sound upon. That weird kind of bits of surf, and like, they had so many different fucking things going on. I mean,
not just that, like just even the last band I just mentioned, we're now listening to retro 80s kind of new retro stuff. So there was people that loved the 50s stuff listening to B-52s, and because they were like, what's this throwback shite? Little did I know I'd be not always listening to Pearl Jam.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the B-52s were formed in Athens, Georgia in 1976, and they went through a couple of different styles of music. So they were kind of new wave for a while. They were art pop. So like, they couldn't have been new wave in 1976, right? Because punk was only starting in 1977, say 76, 77. So the new wave element would have came maybe in around 1980, 1981, something like that.
I didn't think they were going that long. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if I had to guess, I'd say you're dealing with kind of a dance rock pop kind of band, you know, who had surf influences and shit like that. You know, they've been mad into a lot of that kind of 50s and early 60s stuff. The name comes from a variant of the beehive hairdo. That looks like looks like the nose cone of a B-52 bomber. So it's kind of like, when you think of B-52, you obviously think of the plane, but the name comes from the fact that they were mad for these fucking beehive haircuts, and there was a particular variant of it called the B-52 because it looked like the nose cone.
I thought it was an airplane.
It is an airplane.
It is as well, right?
The name is based off a haircut based on the nose cone of that airplane. So this is a fucking mad weird one. The first single was Rock Lobster in 1978.
I do like that song.
It's fucking great. I picked Private Idaho because I fucking love Private Idaho. It's amazing. Fred is one of the founding members. He is famous for his vocal style. His vocal style is real weird. It's called Sprechgesang, right? And it's a weird. It kind of originated in Europe, obviously, with the name of Sprechgesang, and it's a weird variant of singing and talking. Is what it is.
Right, because it is weird. It's like
exactly. So Sprechgesang is a style of kind of melodic talking. It's real fucking weird, but they generally try and keep it flat, and there's a lot of kind of points that have to be hit for it to be Sprechgesang. So it's a weird combo, kind of singing and speaking. There's a bunch
he knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't just start. I just thought he randomly couldn't sing and started just talking.
No, he went after that. That was what he wanted to do. He started off playing. He started off in that band playing like the banjo or something like that. Ended up singing and writing the songs.
Yeah.
That band's more of a collective than a band. You get that feel off them. Everybody in the band kind of done their own bits and pieces, but the B-52s was their main thing. There's a bajillion B-52s albums, a bajillion of them.
So they're going since the 50s?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He went off and done 2 solo albums. He had a couple of real big hits actually with solo albums as well. He done real well off one of them in particular. But he started getting involved in kind of media stuff then as well. People wanted his weird take on songwriting as well, because he's mad for poetry. He's fucking mad for poetry.
Really?
So he like does books of his own poetry all the time. He done one book. This is fucking mad, and he I think he made 200 copies of a book of poetry, but he hand wrote every single one of them.
That's mental.
Yeah. So he just
bought. Brilliant.
Yeah, like he had like blank books made up, and he just sat there filling them out, and he wrote them. Like 200 copies. He's done a lot of stuff like that. His poetry is kind of his main bag. He was involved in the theme song for The New Adventures of Captain Planet.
Was he?
He was involved on RuPaul's debut album.
I like RuPaul. I like RuPaul's Drag Race, but the music is horrific.
It's horrific, horrible
so
shit.
bad.
Yeah. He's written songs.
Except Sissy That Walk. I had to say Sissy That Walk is a banger. Yeah. Grade A banger.
He's written songs for Elvira, the queen of the fucking night.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
He wrote songs for the Rugrats movie.
I knew that. He had a big song for that, actually.
Yeah. What else did he do? He's actually something we talk about an awful lot is Hedwig and the Angry Inch being our favourite kind of musical.
I love that musical, man.
Fucking good.
Fantastic musical.
Yeah, he was involved in an album called Wig in a Box, which is like a lot of famous people got together and done all the songs from Hedwig, and he done Angry Inch.
Oh, you see, right, because that's, I was going to say the Typo Negatives cover that, but no, obviously that's a separate thing altogether.
Yeah, I actually need to go looking for that Week in the Box compilation. It kind of looks cool.
Yeah,
he sang, he done a song with the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters covered the B-52s, Planet Claire, and I think they've done a version with Dave Grohl singing, and then they've done a version with Fred singing. And I think they released the one with him singing. It's weird, real weird. Yeah, it's mad weird. He's written a load of songs for Sophie Ellis-Bextor as well, apparently.
God, so many people have written songs for her.
Yeah, I think she's just mad shell of a human, but it's just fucking... you fill the fucking needle up with music.
Very pretty, though.
She's gorgeous.
Very pretty.
Yeah, you just fill the fucking syringe up with music, jab it in her arse, and fucking inject it into her, and off she goes into the studio there.
Thank you.
I'm going to. Exactly. And then there's an album made because 100 other people wrote it. But she can sing. I like her voice. And she's smashing. But that's Fred Schneider. I always loved B-52s. Once I kind of copped on about music. Like I said, when I was a kid, and it was just this fucking rock lobster, and I didn't know what was going on. So what's this cartoon human? Like, what the fuck? And they had like all the colour was turned up, the saturation was turned up, and I hurt to watch the videos.
Yeah.
And it
was just all the big suits, the red suits.
It was too much. But then when I got a bit of cop on, I was like, this is actually amazing. Like, now that I've seen what they're basing this upon, both musically and the style.
You have to remember as well, around that era, we were listening to very moody music.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like The Cure and stuff. I was anyway, and I was like, what is this shit?
Yeah, literally climbing trees wearing skin-tight jeans and like 10 howler ducks with Slayer t-shirts and army parka jackets on in 25-degree weather, looking at people, look at them cunts. That's all I was doing at this age. And this comes out. You know, Rock Lobster, Love Shack, and turn that shit off. About 6 years later, then you've listened to like more than the 2 albums. That was all you listened to when you were like fucking a kid. And all of a sudden, you're like, this is actually really good. I'm not telling anybody. You know, you get the air age now.
You take Nevermind out of the CD player, and it's like stuck to it because it's melted onto it.
Got bored into it.
That's when you find Radiohead, and you go, you know what? I'm gonna listen to other stuff that's cool as well.
Yeah. We've talked about that before. For me, it was that put me into that kind of slightly more easier listening music that wasn't like or like mad gangster rap. It was the Bends and then OK Computer for me, 100%. 100%. I don't care what anybody says about my life. I don't care what anybody says about my life, Helmet. But that was me. Anyway, that was Fred. Life. That was Fred Schneider. It's my life. That was Fred Schneider from the B-52s. Who is your next one?
My next one is Cole Porter. Cole Porter is, if anyone doesn't know, one of the most successful pop songwriters of like the 20s and 30s. If you never heard of Cole Porter, you would have heard that song, Anything Goes. That's what I put on this. It's Fallout music. It's like music from Fallout. Yeah. But I've known Cole Porter was actually, like, the guy playing him was in that new show. Hollywood, is that what it's called? What's that Hollywood show called?
I haven't watched that.
You know that's the thing on Netflix where like it's all about.
Oh, I did watch that with the board with the eyebrow. Have you watched that show?
It's the show where like everyone's trying to break into Hollywood, but they have to work at like a sort of like male prostitute thing. Yeah,
it's fucking batshit mad. It's actually a good show and it looks kind of cool. But the main actress in it has this thing that she does with her eyebrow, and you'll want to throw the telly out the fucking window. Once you realise that every single scene she does like the Rock's people eyebrow. She does the people's eyebrow from the Rock in every.
Is it the older girl with the red hair?
No. I don't know what her name was. It's the main girl who's like, she's black and they won't cast her, so they bring her.
Oh yes.
She's going out with the He's a writer. He's a Jewish
he's like
writer,
half Filipino, half.
Yeah. But he can pass because he doesn't look very Filipino. So
he's the guy that played. He's the guy that played Andrew Cunanan in the Versace.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that show, and I hope they make more of it. And,
well, like Cole Porter was in, I think, episode 1.
Okay,
and that's letting you know that the world knew that Cole Porter was like gay, even though he was super, super famous.
He's done all those fucking "Hello, my darling," hello, all that stuff.
But he wrote for Broadway musicals, which now, like, obviously comes as no surprise that was what attracted him. And I don't know.
Are we done? Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Okay, all right. Let's do it.
Let's fall in love.
Yeah, where the wow.
He was born into the richest family in Peru, Indiana. Not the country.
I thought you were about to say actual Peru.
In Peru, yeah. In 1891, he learned the violin.
1891.
Yeah, he learned the violin at age 6. He learned the piano at 8, and he wrote his first operetta at the age of 10.
Full on. He was eating muck.
Yeah,
full on.
At 10.
Yeah.
Imagine that. No, he had help.
Spoonfuls of it.
I'd read it, but like that. Well, that's good learning time for kids. They absorb that stuff.
Yeah,
they're powerhouses at that age. Anyway, he wrote 300 songs while at Yale studying, including student songs like Bulldog and Bingo, Eli, Yale, that are still played today.
Wow.
Football. That's stupid.
Football.
He moved to Paris in 1917 and enlisted in the French Foreign Legion.
Fuck.
Rough gear.
What the fuck?
Although some people say that he didn't. They checked up the listings, and apparently his name is there, Cole Porter, in the French Foreign Legion. A year later, he met Linda Lee Thomas, who was a rich divorcee from Kentucky, 8 years older than him. They married, even though she knew full well he was gay. It was perfect for her at the time. He was a well-known singer-songwriter, kind of pop guy, and that was like good for her to get out of a relationship she was in. And obviously, a marriage of convenience is very good for him as well to portray heterosexual, because you couldn't do that then. Like, people knew, but you couldn't do it in public. You couldn't say anything, or else, like
a shadow society almost. Yeah, of
course. Yeah, people go, "Oh, he's liking the loafers." Yeah, see, he likes the guys. See. In 1937. His horse rolled and crushed his legs, leaving him substantially crippled, and he was in pain for the rest of his life. Now, he died of kidney failure in 1964.
Jesus Christ.
At the age of 73. So for most of his life, he was in agony. He was still writing Broadway shows. It was weird because I was looking up this, and what was notable about it was, which is why he's so notable to a lot of people, is because Broadway musicals, the lyrics were never written by the people that wrote the music.
What year did he die?
64.
64. So that Jesus, 2 world wars, Vietnam, Jesus Christ, that's a serious block of time to inhabit, when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
And imagine having to do it while fucking hiding what you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know how much he hid it, because you have to understand, he's mega rich. Well, not mega rich, but
he's mega rich and he's famous and he's in artistic circles. But
it would help a little bit, but still, he would have heard things he didn't like, and he would have been denied opportunities. I don't know. But thankfully, he seemed to have lived until, Jesus fucking hell, a horse rolled in his legs.
Fucking mental. That's mental.
Yeah, look, I know. Every time you think you don't know a Cole Porter song, you'll find it and go, "That's him." Yeah, that's been covered by everyone. So yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I've always wanted to put Cole Porter into a playlist. Couldn't figure out. I was like, how do you get a 20s?
Yeah, it's a weird
30 songwriter into one, and I thought, fuck it, this is the one. Gotcha. Yeah, he does appear. He's well known to being gay. And it was in that show, Hollywood. Is it called Hollywood?
I think it's just called Hollywood. Yeah,
it's a bit shit, but it's good. It's good.
Fine. It's fine garbage. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
except for the scenes which I won. Yeah, I won't bother the life out of me, lad. I can't stop.
So I haven't finished yet now.
All right. It's just her eyebrows. Every single scene, the eyebrow goes up, and it's mad bothersome.
I'll be sure to check.
You will. Once you see it, you'll never let it go. Then It'll haunt you.
That was Cole Porter. Who is your next one?
My next one is an obvious one, but it kind of has to be said, is Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal to me.
Yeah, this is definitely a big fucking deal. I picked Solar Angels. That's my favourite Judas Priest song. I love this fucking song. The riff is just bananas. It's fucking
don't
bananas.
like them at all, I have to say. I like
straight up, yeah, I'm with you. Not a massive Judas Priest fan. Yeah. Judas Priest were too British for me.
They're very British. They wave the flag around. It's all very. The album's called British Steel, and there's massive.
It's just
I'm sorry, I'm not being a cunt. I just don't like see that. I didn't see any flag too much in. I don't think so. Yeah. Although I suppose if a Russian band or a German band started waving the flag, I'd be like, that's all right. I don't really care.
We have a bit of a history here, and we're kind of born with a little bit of that fucking dirt on us as well.
Would you look at that with an Irish band? If you saw an Irish band that were constantly putting flags and it was like...
Oh yeah, it bothered the shit out of me as well. But only out of begrudgery. Out of Irish begrudgery, like, saps, who do they think they are? But then when I see like a British band waving the Union Jack, I'm like, look at them fucking scumbags. But then if someone start waving like a French flag, I'm like, no one cares. That's the way I'd be. So we German flag. I don't even know what German flag looks like.
Daft Punk came out with like their visors with French flags, like digitally across their visors. Like, don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Literally any other country on earth, whatever. Wouldn't be mad on the Chinese one or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not for me. Because I haven't left the gaff in 18 months or something. And they not into eating dogs or anything like that either. But Rob Halford's a big one. Judas Priest kind of existed already, just about, and they were looking for a singer. And one of the lads in the band knew a fella called Rob Halford. And Rob Halford at the time was the manager of a porn cinema.
Was he?
Yeah, he was running a porno cinema. And they brought him in. And he just straight away, bang, off you go. Because he started off, he had kind of bleach blonde hair and shit like that.
That's right.
Yeah. By the time they got around to recording their first album, he was saying, I'm just going to shave my head. And I'm going to wear the shades and the studs and the whole shebang. And he didn't come out until, he came out in 1998. And he kind of done
it. I thought it was earlier than that.
No, I think a lot of people, there was rumours. I think an awful lot of rumours. But he didn't officially come out until 1998. And he kind of came out, not accidentally. I think he was doing an interview with MTV, and he just said, fuck it. I just came out. And he said, like, from that point on, it's just his whole life changed. You know what I mean? That he didn't have to hide it, and because he never went out with the lads afterwards, right, in the clubs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He just went back to the fucking hotel room because he'd given up. He gave up the drink and drugs and shit like that. I think in the late 80s maybe, and in the late 80s or mid 80s maybe he gave up everything just because he was riding rings around himself. He was going full fucking his idol in life was Freddie Mercury, so he was trying to do his best Freddie Mercury impression, he said.
Yeah.
So but he'd done damage to himself. He said, I can't do this anymore.
It must be super stressful to hide it just on a daily basis, where you have this slight filter over everything that comes out of your mouth that can't be like, me fella.
I'd assume you're just living like dual personalities, or it's almost like a split personality where you kind of.
I wonder, is it hard to remember who knows and who doesn't? Like, you have to remember, like, you can't even mention the guy too much. Like, going over to like Thing's house. Like, you go over to his house all the time. You're talking to your family or something, but they might know you. Like, hiding that must be. Well, probably didn't hide it from his family, but
apparently the guys in the band. They kind of knew, but it's weird. I read two interviews where like he was like, I think the lads in the band knew, but like, obviously don't give a shy. And then another one was saying that like the lads in the band didn't know because they didn't really hang out with the guys in the band. And he left Judas Priest in 1991.
That's right, he left for a while, didn't he?
Left for fucking years until 2002. The reason he left is they were doing a gig in Toronto, and he came on stage on a Harley. He'd asked for a Harley to drive out on stage. He used to do that every now and again if it was a big arena.
Yeah. And
something went wrong with the Harley, and instead of stopping, it sped up, and he went straight into the drum riser and smashed himself up, broke his nose, and he was left unconscious. And the band had already started playing the song, so they had to just play the first song or two with him unconscious on the ground and a broken nose. Yeah. So then he woke up, snapped up out of it, finished the gig. But after the gig, he fucking quit the band. He sued the record label Sony. He sued them for something weird, like restrictive practices or prohibitive practices or something like that. They wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do and make the show the way he wanted the show to be and shit like that.
That sounds like a great way of getting out of something, though. Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't deliver it the way I want to deliver it. He
Yeah.
might have just went, you know what, man? You know, you can have, like, if I don't know how much of a life-changing experience that would be, but you could wake up and go, no, I'm done with this shit, and that's the final straw. You know, if you're slightly bored of something or coming to the end of it, and something like that happens, you're like, fuck that, I'm out.
Yeah. Like he's, you know, when he left Priest, he done a bajillion yokes. Like he started a band with what's his name, John Foy from Marilyn Manson. Started like an industrial group with him.
I remember every time I'd pick up Crying to be a new Rob Halford band.
He honestly had 4 or 5 of them going. Then he had his own thing going. He's also doing a lot of singing with Black Sabbath as well. He was covering back in the day, cover for Dio, then he covered for Ozzy, and there was a couple of gigs where Ozzy couldn't make it because he was sick, so they get Rob in to sing, because Rob has one of the biggest ranges in all of rock music. He can do the growly fucking rah 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 stuff, and he can do that the Maiden-esque shit. He just has a massive range, so he can cover everybody. He can do pretty good impressions almost of everybody as well. So that he's covered for an awful lot of people over the years. But yeah, he considers himself to be he calls himself the stately homo of heavy metal, is what he refers to himself.
Yeah, I often I remember years ago talking about this to metalers, and someone kind of go, how does he come out straight in such a macho fucking type of music, and how does he not get slagged all the time? Someone just went, would you slag Rob Halford about anything? Like anything? He looks like he batty it.
Well, listen, there's a particular kind of subgenre of metal that Judas Priest inhabit that is incredibly camp, and it is. Like, when you look at Judas Priest and you see like the covers, and it's like the hand holding the razor blade, and he comes out with like a leather jacket and sunglasses and gloves with spikes all over them, you're like,
oh yeah.
Like, I wouldn't, if I saw some dude walking out on stage wearing all that clobber now, I'd be like, this is like tongue-in-cheek kind of music. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And as well as that look was already designated to gay biker kind of associations and bars and stuff like that in America. You would see that a lot. A lot of gay people took up the image of the bikers, but they added more. They just amped it up to the next level.
It's the same with in the UK in the 80s. A lot of skinheads were gay. The skinheads are kind of co-opted a lot of gay men in the UK had co-opted the skinhead look. And it became a big thing. Remember, like, Right Said Fred and all this kind of stuff? They would have been kind of, those guys would have been the pop kind of variant of what the gay skinhead groups were looking like. They literally looked like ska and reggae and oi fucking skinheads. Like, they had bomber jackets, turned up jeans, fucking oxblood ducks or fucking get grips or whatever, or Solivairs or whatever, and shaved heads. But there were gay lads who went to house parties and raves, and that's the music they were into. Morrissey would have taken an awful lot of that stuff. If you go back to the early 90s when Morrissey was doing his solo stuff and look at his albums, you see loads of photos with Morrissey hanging out with skinheads, and they're all a lot of his mates who were like part of the gay skinhead subculture.
Right.
So like there's definitely both scenes kind of feed off themselves. Like I said, when I see, before I ever knew that Rob Halford was gay, when I saw pictures of what Judas Priest looked like, it looked like a joke. Like, it looked like...
It's very cheesy.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with even camping. It's just...
No.
Yeah,
but it just had this, like, fucking theatrical element to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
like, the Iron Maiden wouldn't even go down that route.
No. Like, Iron Maiden, like, fucking Bruce
They're
Dickinson...
the nearest, Iron Maiden are the nearest thing I can think to...
To Priest, yeah, 100%. Priest, yeah. But they had when you think about it, Iron Maiden kept everything very much kind of war, you know, like all their stuff. They'd bombers in the ceiling, and he's out there swinging the bleeding Union Jack with a cutlass attached to it. He kept everything very fucking militaristic. But Priest they were like a fucking just heavy metal personified, done by somebody who like read about heavy metal once, and because of that, it comes off as very much theatre, very much the big show.
Yeah. Like, my favourite song by them, and the only song I really like, is Turbo Lover.
Like, there you go.
That's not like Run to the Hills or fucking Killers or something by like Iron Maiden. That's not even that fucking strong or heavily based on like something evil. But Turbo Lover, Tell Me There's No Other. That is quite like it's theatrical.
Of course it is. I think Priest suffered a little bit from people taking them maybe a little bit too seriously without knowing that perhaps Rob and Co weren't taking it all that seriously. If you get
like looking back now, like, well, you see, that wasn't even the problem I had with Judas Priest. Never was the problem I had with Judas Priest, whether they were too serious.
Just the music wasn't for me, really.
Yeah, I just don't think their songs are good. Loads of their songs, they have great riffs, and then I don't have any problem with Rob Halford's voice or lyrics. It's just the changes in the music. I'm like, oh, this is boring.
Yeah, it's
bores the shit. I saw them live and it bored the shit.
Me too. I saw them with Megadeth years ago, probably the same one.
Like, that's the one I saw. Yeah, they were brutal.
It was brutal. It was garbage. Now apparently they don't like playing Ireland.
Well, probably because they wave the flag around all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently they don't like playing over here. So
don't fucking play it then.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't. Because that was a Testament, Megadeth, and then Priest.
Yeah.
And Megadeth were fine. The sound for Megadeth was shite.
Sound was really bad, but they gave it a good bit. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. Anyway, that was Rob Halford, the gay leader of one of the biggest heavy metal bands the world has ever seen. Who was your next one?
My next one is someone that I've mentioned before, and I can't remember which podcast. I think it was the one where we were getting each other to listen to music
stuff we like.
The other person would be into. Yeah. So this is Yves Tumor. The song is
Gospel. It was.
Yeah, Gospel for a New Century. They're a non-binary experimental singer and producer from Florida. It's just, oh my God! I remember the first time I heard "The Safe in the Hands of Love," that album. I was like, I often just see things popping up with, like, if the better the reviews are, the more chance I'll see it somewhere popping up in one of the music blogs or something like that. And this was just, I was just going, I saw the album cover and I went, I can't listen to every album. So sometimes I'll look at the album cover and go, that's interesting me. Or I'll try and, never judge a book by its cover, I never judge an album by its cover. But sometimes if I don't have all the time in the world, I'll have to just go, ooh, that looks like it's interesting.
Yeah.
So like me, and this album was mad looking cover.
Yeah.
It looks like a kind of demon on the front of it. And I couldn't figure out what the kind of music was like. It sounded like I was listening to DJ Shadow meets Massive Attack meets, like, could be Tyler the Creator if he wasn't rapping and just sort of sing talking.
Yeah.
And the songs off that called Noid and Lifetime where I just fucking stood right out to me. I was like, what is Yves Tumor? Is that one person? Is it loads of people? Yeah. Is it a band name? No, it's just the name for one person.
Just a project.
Yeah. And I can't even get a good picture of them.
Really?
Because they look a bit like, some pictures, honestly, facially, they look a little bit like DMX. And in another picture, they look like fucking Lady Gaga.
Weird.
It's madness.
Yeah.
I can't get a singular look. If you type in Yves Tumor, you'll be looking at a picture of one person, but about 1 million personas. And I think that they like to hide.
Yeah, maybe just creating their own.
It is creating now. You see all the different personas.
In there. Wow, with the makeup and wow. Okay.
Some of it is incredible. It can go from looking like Marilyn Manson to like Kylie Minogue mixed like on acid or something. Oh God, I just said Kylie Minogue on acid.
Yeah,
it's like the Matrix on speed.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here now. That's there's a lot of work gone into the image there. Yeah.
The image you see. They're crazy into just creating, and it could be to hide. They might. I don't know. I always get a sense when someone overdoes the makeup stuff that they find it easier to perform less like that.
In persona, 100%.
Yeah, some people just absolutely love to look mad.
Yeah.
Crazy and push it forward. Because you have to be honest with you, it's 2020 now. Your image is as important as it's ever been in
definitely.
Music.
Yeah, definitely.
So you need everything for an all cylinders in. Your music needs to be killer. Actually, no, your music doesn't need to be killer. It just needs to be perceived to be killer. You need to get onto all the blogs. You need
to be popular. Yeah.
And maybe it's always been like that. Maybe music's always been like that.
Possibly.
Where like looks do, you get that music act that just hits it at the exact right time. And I don't know how big Yves Tumor will get. I know that Pitchfork now are mad into it. You see the Pitchfork reviews coming in with the 8s and 9s.
Deadly.
But it's well deserved, I have to say. And to be honest with you, I'm not slating Pitchfork. I do agree with most of their reviews for things.
A lot of times, yeah.
Necessarily hard sometimes on things. But I had to mention Yves Tumor just because it's one of my favourite new artists to come out. I can't figure out, like, what they're even like, really,
what it is,
as a person.
Yeah.
But the music just, man, that's Safe in the Hands of Love is just a groundbreaking album. I just love it. I always recommend that to people, and they listen and go, "This is mad." It's really easy to listen to because it's experimental. It has creepy loops, but it's super accessible and easy to listen to. But it's not boring. So look, that is the like gender neutral rock star.
Yeah,
Yves Tumor, Yves Tumor, and listen to them. Who's your next one?
My next one is Big Frida, who I've covered a couple of times in the podcast, I think, in the past. Big Frida, I don't even know how to explain the situation here. Big Frida was born Freddie Ross, so Big Frida is like the stage name. Now, Big Frida identifies as a gay man, but dresses as a woman. He does it all the time. He doesn't have a preferred pronoun. He's happy with he or she. He's given interviews. He's given kind of conflicting interviews where he said, like, I prefer she, and then they say, no, I'm he today. So he's a bit fluid in that sense. Big Frida is one of the main kind of proponents of what's known as New Orleans bounce. So we've talked about bounce music a lot on this podcast because it's mad important. It's mad important to hip hop culture, and it's not that big of a genre. We talked about stuff like the Trigger Man sample before. That's all fucking bounce music.
Is that the yeah.
I think of that City Girls fucking twerk video and all that. No. You've heard it in literally 1,000 songs. That is the entire basis of bounce music. Bounce music, a lot of it all sounds the exact same, but it's mad different. It's fucking mental.
It does all sound the same to me, so I need to listen to more of it.
It's fucking batshit mad.
It's almost. I feel like there's no point in me listening to that unless I was dancing. It feels like only listening to while people are dancing. It's useless for me to listen to that music.
Very much.
Not that I dance, but it feels like sitting down and listening to that feels like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. Now, bounce music always had two kind of subgenres, right? It had bounce, and then I had what's called sissy bounce. And sissy bounce there was a couple of like cross-dressing bounce artists. There was trans bounce artists. There was gay bounce artists, like across the board. And they had their own clubs, their own nights.
Okay, right. I was going to say, how did they differentiate it?
Yeah.
Because their own clubs, I suppose, you're going to get your own scene. Yeah.
Now, eventually, both scenes just merged into one. It's just bounce now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of that was down to Big Frida, just saying, listen, fucking, this is nonsense. Why can you not go to this one and go to this one? That we're all into this fucking music. We all want to listen to this music for 8 hours and dance and get locked. Let's just fucking do it. Her first single was in 1999. First album in 2003. Now, it gets this weird thing that happens to bounce music, and a lot of it is spearheaded by Big Frida as well, where fucking 2005 Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans, and it essentially just wipes out the fucking city, destroy it.
That was so crazy.
Yeah. Now, what they done was everybody who lives in New Orleans was relocated, and they were sent all over the country. And a lot of the bounce artists that got relocated started doing bounce nights in the cities and towns that they were relocated to.
Right.
So Big Frida was like, how long was Frida there for? Frida was there for Texas, maybe for almost a year, and start doing bounce
imagine
nights.
Texas being into that.
There's some parts of Texas that are incredibly liberal and left-leaning. A lot of it is fucking, I suppose, just shit kick or Wild West. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, it's still 2020, or it's still like fucking the 2000s. So there's every city, every town.
No, I mean, like let's just start with people in Texas, which has not. I don't know how big the hip hop scene. What is that deadly band from Texas?
There's a couple. I mean, they call it the South Coast, don't they? The South Coast is what they call it.
My mind's playing tricks. That song.
Oh, Ghetto Boys.
No, is they not from Texas?
Yeah, Ghetto Boys. Jesus, you caught me now on the hop. Ghetto Boys from Texas. I will tell you exactly now because I have to fucking look that up. I think you might be right.
That's wrecked my head up.
Yeah, I think the Ghetto Boys are Texas. I don't know why that hasn't fucking.
Ghetto Boys.
No, they're from Jersey. You're
There's a deadly one. They have it. No, it's not My Mind's Playing Tricks. That song about being mad, super. No, that is also about being paranoid. Mind Playing Tricks.
I can't even type right now. It's that hot in
Oh,
this
God,
room.
so hard. No, the only reason we're doing this now is we can, and like it wrecked my head.
Literally swept me bollocks off. Texas hip hop. Let me see. I'm about to find an article.
Oh, it is Ghetto Boys, but it's GETO Boys.
Yeah, GETO Boys. Yeah,
they're from Texas.
Travis Scott is from Texas.
Travis Scott, of course.
Scarface. Yeah, Scarface. He's from Texas, but I think Ghetto Boys were formed in New Jersey. Right. Post Malone's from Texas.
Nelly, it says here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's offside. But anyway,
what I was trying to say is, like, the scene is down there would have accepted. Surely, I thought they would.
Hip hop's always looking for something new. That's what you'll see. Like every 6-7 years in hip hop, there's like the new thing that takes over. You know, you had like mumble, then you had trap, and you had gangster, then you had kind of that kind of slow. You had G funk era. Like hip hop is very progressive. Even for something that's not really progressive, like in its acceptance, but musically, it's always kind of pushing forward and wanting something new. So when Frida was there and done a couple of bounce nights, it started getting kind of big. Now, within a year, Frida was one of the first people back into New Orleans, and they gave an interview. She gave an interview saying, like, one of the cool things that happened to bounce is that everybody came back to New Orleans and they were after getting their insurance checks from their buildings and their businesses and all this kind of their cars getting wrecked, all this kind of shit. So there was a shit ton of money in fucking New Orleans. And what a lot of people doing is to start opening up new clubs and running new nights and fucking all this kind of stuff. And for years after this, Frida was doing like up to 10 gigs a week, just kind of doing bounce gigs.
Deadly.
All over New Orleans. Off the back of this, then, Frida was given a reality TV show on Fuse. It's been running for fucking years. Right. Years. I've never watched it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to either.
Didn't Big Frida play here a few years ago?
I don't know whether that gig actually happened. I think that gig might be cancelled.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah,
I know I was dying to go. I was in the Workman's Club, and I was on one of the nights I was working, and I was trying to organise cover. And I think something happened where it got cancelled. I can't fucking remember. Something happened anyway. Where it all went to shy. Frida appeared on Treme, which is obviously the big fucking the big TV show.
Love that show. That show.
So Frida was on there, doing like Jimmy Kimmel Live, done loads of TV. Got a reality show on Fuse called The Queen of Bounce, and that ran for like 3 years, and then it got renewed for another like 6 years. It's still running to now. Frida got a big boost in like 2016 when Beyonce started sampling Frida's music.
Right.
And what was the fucking song? Formation's the name of the song. Start sampling.
That's good.
Yeah, start sampling like bits of Frida's voice and bits of Frida's music, and then eventually Frida appeared on stage with Beyonce and done a bunch more stuff. Drake has also sampled some of the stuff. We don't really want to talk about Drake though.
No.
Yeah, bit of a tour pack. I picked the song.
I also just hate his music as well.
Yeah, garbage as well. I picked Karaoke with Lizzo for the song, which is actually a good song.
It is a good song. I know the song.
I wanted the song Gin in My System, but it's not on Spotify.
I hate when that happens, when we have the perfect song and Spotify goes, no.
Yeah, Gin in My System is like one of the big kind of bounce anthems that Frida done. It's fucking amazing. Yeah. But that's Big Frida. Gay black man that wears women's makeup and clothes and is fucking killing it. You can't miss Big Frida. Like the second the photo pops up, you can't go like, who's that? You know exactly who it is. Like the style, everything just has it down to a fucking fine art. Amazing fucking music. I've always liked Big Frida. Always been a big fan. It's fucking batshit mad music. And
it is. I can't get my head around that though.
Big fan of it. Who's your next one?
My next one is Joe Bryant. Have you heard of Joe Bryant?
No.
Joe Bryant is a cover of his song is on Morrissey's covers album.
Okay.
The one that we don't really like because it's not great.
Good. It's not good.
But Joe Bryant, was the first openly gay rock musician signed to a major record label.
Oh.
The first roll of the dice on someone openly gay, and they pushed it hard, really, really hard. So his real name is Bruce Wayne Campbell.
No way.
That's a mad name. Bruce Wayne Campbell.
That's a savage name. What they
you got Bruce Wayne. You got Bruce Wayne in there. You've got Bruce Campbell in there.
Yeah. That's a proper name.
Imagine Bruce Campbell playing Batman. That would have weirdly worked. But it would have come out like the Tick.
Yeah, I'd still be into it.
Yeah. He's known as Jabroyeth, born in Philadelphia in 1946. Taught himself a load of instruments, became just naturally good at music, but was drafted into the military when he was 19, I think, and went AWOL within a month because being gay in the army, zero crack.
Zero crack.
Zero crack. He was passing out demos, and Carly Simon's manager, Brett, what's his name out there? Burner. Anyway, heard his demo, and it was actually being refused by another person. They were like, "Nah, throw it out." He said, "What is that?" So this is some guy called Joe Bryant. I don't know who this lad is. Anyway, got in contact with him where he was living in LA as a prostitute. They're like, "Do you want to come down and like try out some songs?" He was like, "Yeah." Got signed to Elektra Records for what would be today £1 million advance.
Fuck.
That is at the time the most lucrative record contract of its time.
It's insane money.
This is crazy. Like, I didn't really know anything about. I'd heard the name Joe Bryant, and I'd seen in documentaries you'd hear it being mentioned. His name being mentioned. So David Geffen signed him on a 2-album deal, a massive marketing campaign where they were like he's openly gay, and they're like, this is the new thing. This guy is a glam rock artist, like an over the top glam rock artist. So they did a full page advertisements in Vogue, Rolling Stones, Penthouse, 250 New York City buses posted, 41-inch billboards in Times Square.
Wow. And
when he wanted to do a 3-night album debut at the Paris Opera, that would have cost $200,000. He told the press, this is what's happening. He goes, "Now, get this. I'm going to be dressed as King Kong, projected up to the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
The Empire State Building is going to turn into a giant splurting penis, and I will transform myself into Marlene Dietrich. And it's going to cost $200,000. Elektra Records cancelled that."
Really?
Yeah. He started coming out with mad statements like, people are going to be talking about me when they talk about the Beatles and Elvis. He came out and said, this is what started to fucking, I think, they were pushing him. He was openly gay. They were pushing him really, really fucking hard because the kid had it. Like, you want to see pictures of him and all. This is Hedwig, before Hedwig. Yeah. But when he started really rubbing people up the wrong way with the way he was saying stuff like, "I'm rock's truest fairy," as in like I'm the only person that's actually out about it. The album sales were really poor after all that. So it was a failed experiment on trying to push. And it's a shame because everything was done right. You needed to be a bit fucking brash.
Yeah.
If you're a little bit arrogant and stuff like that coming out, I think he was doing everything right. The gigs he was playing were supposed to be fantastic. Like, he's one of those artists known for their crazy live performances as well. He released another album 6 months later because it was a 2-album deal that bombed as well, and he was let go off the label. So he retired from music to do acting.
All right.
That didn't really go well. He was kind of chewed up and spat out a little bit in the sense that he did everything right. The music's like really, really good. It is. If you listen to it, it's crazy. Some of it, he's mad into folk as well. Some of it is mad folky as well. He's got a song called Scumbag that is really fucking folky and really good. It has like twinges of country in it. But this song here, this is Take Me, I'm Yours. No, it's not Take Me, I'm Yours. I changed it to I'm the Man, didn't I?
I'll tell you now. I fucking just closed
I
down.
did. I changed it to I'm a Man because I was listening to them
I'm
back
a Man,
again. And I was like, no, I want this to be the one that like people hear the first time. I'd known a couple of his songs to hear because I think I had him on some playlist from ages ago.
Maybe.
where we were going to do Lost songs, and it didn't really fit into Lost songs because it wasn't Lost. Everyone, like, the albums were out, you can still buy them now. The artwork on them is incredible. It's just brilliant. It's like they hired like a famous artist to do it. I can't remember the artist's name, Asian artist that did an incredible album cover. But unfortunately, he was the first openly gay rock musician to be signed to a major record label. He was also the first big musician to die of AIDS or problems to do with AIDS. And that was kind of huge at the time as well, because we'll get into it later with another artist as well that this happened. But this, in the 80s, it was 83 that he died.
Yeah.
No one really fucking knew that much about it. Didn't know what the fuck was going on with it, like, half the time. They really didn't. And
what did they call it? The gay plague and all? Nobody knew what it was.
The gay cancer. Yeah. The gay cancer, they were calling it, because they couldn't figure out what it was, because it was actually physically affect your face with lesions and stuff like that as well. But it's crazy because listen to this stuff. It's like shit. That I think the first album had Peter Frampton on it, and the second one had him and John Bonham from Led Zeppelin on it. This is one of the, I'm surprised more people don't talk about this. So Morrissey obviously is a massive fucking fan.
Yeah.
And in 2004, he oversaw the 4-CD reissue. You know the way, like, he does a bit of a not Brian Ferry, but David Bourne, where he
does a curation.
Yeah, he'll pull it up. He had actually previously attempted to secure him as a support act for the Your Arsenal album, completely unaware that he was well dead by then. Not still alive. Before he died, he became a lounge singer under the name Cole Berlin, where he would take requests and play literally anything people asked him to play, except what? Have a guess.
Oh, jeez, I couldn't tell you.
Wouldn't play any Joe Bright songs. Ever.
Oh, really?
Refused to fly.
When there was on?
No.
Mad.
People would be shouting up, Joe Bright. No, fuck off.
Nah.
So yeah,
that's fucking mad.
Kind of came and went, but it was actually 10 years he was in the fucking business of. It doesn't get talked about a lot, Joe Bright, larger than life rock superstar. That I think that was the first time all record labels were right. Look, they're pushing someone in rock music openly gay. Let's see how this goes. I don't know why it didn't go well, man, because you had Queen going, but Freddie Mercury wasn't openly gay at that stage.
No. Apparently, Freddie Mercury was never openly gay. Like,
I suppose, yeah.
He admitted to being bisexual, but I don't think he ever admitted to being straight up gay. That's something I only found out this week. I read, obviously doing research on here, and I read one. I actually read two articles that said like everybody. He said, yeah, he was gay, like. But he never actually came out. He never came. Like, now, I could be wrong. There could be a million articles out there. But two of the things I read this week saying that, no, it was just one of those, like, agreed and assumed upon things. Like, you know, once it was kind of out there and people, it was in the zeitgeist, everybody was like, yeah, grand, like, you know, of course.
Well, this was Joe Bright saying it from day one.
Yeah.
Day one. So, that's him. Give him a listen. It's very interesting. It's very interesting stuff. It's really, really, some of it's really, really catchy. Cool. That was my one. Who's your next one?
My next one is Mina Caputo from Life of Agony.
Oh, yeah.
This is a big one. Mina Caputo came out as transgender in 2011 after not being in Life of Agony for years. She left Life of Agony. When did she leave Life of Agony? Fuck me. 1990. Fucking something. I think it was the mid-90s she left Life of Agony. Joined Life of Agony in 1989. Life of Agony, like a weird kind of crossover between kind of hardcore and metal band from Brooklyn.
Oh, and that River Runs Red.
I picked the song River Runs Red. Yeah, it's just that biggest song.
Deadly stuff. Yeah. That album is fucking deadly. It's like you said, it's a hard one to put down the music. It's like it could come from hardcore. It's also a bit touch fucking metally, like
I mean,
the Type O Negative in the sound, all right? Like,
I think so. There's they had one leg in that kind of New York hardcore scene, and one leg in the kind of proper heavy metal kind of scene as well. But they were loved by everybody. Life of Agony blew up real quick. I read an interview where she said like she wasn't really. She was in school and she kind of got into a band and was having fun doing the band, but wanted to go to study in Juilliard and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then something that becomes kind of a common theme between Mina and my last choice on this list as well, where it felt like they had to play the part of like the kind of punk or metal hard man, you know, in the early days, where it's like everybody else is going to drink and gargle and doing smashing up hotel rooms and, you know, banging women and fucking raging. And she felt like this is just what I had to fucking do, like, you know. But she was just kind of putting this mask on. And and
a bad reputation, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And,
for a while.
Yeah, so
for being mad aggro.
Exactly. So then she knocked it on the head, fucked off, done a bunch of stuff. I mean, a fucking shit ton of solo stuff and side projects. Like, I think there's like 10 solo albums. Do you know what I mean? And kind of jump between the States and Europe. She has a girlfriend in Vienna who's like a famous makeup artist, I think. And it's hard to explain how big Life of Agony were for like a small period of time. Like there was.
There's like two really big albums.
Yeah, I think they done the first two albums were huge, and then the third albums were started turning to shit, and then she ditched after the third one, fucked off, came back then, done a few more a couple of years later, but the first two were fucking massive, and they were like,
I saw them in Dublin. Yeah, she would have been not there.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was. I don't know who's the guy.
I don't know who they brought in. Yeah, but
it was garbage.
Yeah, it wouldn't
garbage gig.
Yeah, it has to be Caputo. Look, it just has to be. But yeah, like that band have Life Agony have like 7 albums. I don't know how many Mina is on. Maybe 4, maybe 5. But like the band were so fucking big. So when she came out as transgender in 2011, like the whole kind of metal and heavy rock scene just kind of stopped for a second. I'm like, the fuck, what? Like, I never forget.
Yeah, that's one that I don't think people saw coming at all.
Nobody saw that. I don't think. There was no preamble to that whatsoever. That was just something that she'd obviously been like fucking eating away at her for years. Said, "Fuck it, no, doing it now. Here we go," and start performing then as Mina Caputo. Yeah. And I don't think anybody knew what to make of it for the first fucking like 6 months, and then after that it was like whatever, fucking still deadly. Let's fucking go. This is
first of all, it's the person that was singing the songs originally.
Yes.
And that's really important to when you're hearing songs, to me.
Yeah, exactly.
To not hear someone else singing
doing their version.
Which sometimes works, but trust me, I saw it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen Mina Caputo doing Life of Agony, but I can tell you, without seeing it, it'd be better than what I saw.
Exactly.
Whoever it was just... Now, I'm not saying the singer was bad. It's just this was going through the motions, and I saw loads of Life of Agony fans going, "Yeah, it's not the same."
Yeah. No, it could have been just some kind of like fill in for the tour kind of situation, because I know that they kind of they slowed down an awful lot as well and just kind of banged out a few bits and bobs before she came back. But that's just a quick one. That's an important one for kind of heavy music in general. Is Mina Caputo.
Yeah, I can imagine there would have been a lot of people going, "No, I'm not into it now." I'm like,
a lot of people would have walked away. An awful lot of people would have walked away. But you know what? That's a fucking scumbag filter, which is fine. We need them as well, like, you know. Who's your next one?
My next one is Klaus Nomi. And the song is Nomi Song. I like Klaus Nomi a lot. Now, I wouldn't be listening to loads of Klaus Nomi. No one does be listening to loads of Klaus Nomi. But Klaus Nomi is very, very important. Born Klaus Sperber in 1944 in Germany. What a year! What a place to be born in Germany. He's known for his like fucking extravagant, experimental look, music videos and stage shows. His music is bananas, kind of synthesizer interpretations of classic opera songs to covers of 60s pop songs. Do you know what he looks like? I bet you'd know him if you saw him, right? He has this oversized plastic tuxedo top and this crazy hairstyle. He's balding, like, and then the hair is going back and it's pulled up like a mini kind of Sideshow Bob kind of haircut. Or no, Sideshow Mel maybe. It's crazy. He's got this like operatic voice, like a proper opera, like really super high range while he's singing over It's like fucking, I don't know, something like that, like a plasticky or Kraftwerk song or something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna look them up online now.
I guarantee you'll go, I recognise that person. I guarantee you will.
Let's make sure it's got the spelling right here. This will be spelling is not my friend.
Yeah, okay. He's such a good style that he influenced not just like musicians.
Okay, all right.
You know, right. I don't know if how many people he influenced musically, but style-wise, you can tell 100%. Lady Gaga from the Telephone video had an outfit on that was exactly like him. Hugo Boss and Jean-Paul Gaultier had a range that was influenced by him. And I was looking at pictures of him today going,
oh, there's him with Bowie.
Yeah. So the deal with Bowie was, right, you see, he moved from Germany to New York, which is what you do if you're you see, he never came out as gay, but he was gay. It's one of these things that people know now, that he was gay. He had to be a pastry chef in New York while he was doing music. Let's see what happens if he's living in New York. I'd say New York was a fucking kip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in 70s and 80s, man.
70s and 80s.
I was looking at a picture of the other day. It looked like a slum.
Well, that's, apparently, like, even like Times Square was full of like porno theatres and prostitutes and drug dealers. Like, it's not, like, it was when Giuliani came in as the mayor and he basically turned it into Disneyland, and a lot of New Yorkers fucking hated it. Like, what is this kind of homogenized, pasteurized version of New York? Like, we're meant to be the city that never sleeps, like the fucking like Gotham. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what it was.
I think the crime was too bad.
Outrageous. Well. Apparently, how he got rid of crime was stuff like jaywalking and shit that just was never enforced. He just put a zero tolerance policy on it. It was like, if you cross the road before the green man hits, you're getting a fucking fine. It's that simple.
That's bullshit. That's worse than homogenized area.
He just turned it into like a fascist state, you know. So
fascist state, yeah.
And that fueled an awful lot of musicians, actually.
Yeah.
That changeover.
Well, he got so big in the New York scene that David Bowie even heard of him and start like looking him up and stuff like that. It was like, right, this guy is fucking phenomenal. So he got him to play with him and Klaus Nomi's band. They played as a backup band to Bowie on Saturday Night Live in '79. Yeah, so that's where you'll see. David Bowie even got one of those plastic tuxedos made.
So, yeah, I've seen the photo of him wearing the same thing.
Like, so he played that on Saturday Night Live as well. Nomi died in 1938, also of complications from AIDS. That's the same year as your bride as well, actually. On the same, yeah. And he was again another one of the earliest known people in the arts community from AIDS. And it was kind of sad because the rumor is going around that he died on his own, where none of his friends would come and see him. They thought it was contagious.
Yeah,
didn't know anything about it.
Nobody knew it.
The lesions were really, really bad with him and stuff like that. So, but then I was reading up again today. I kept reading up about it. I was like, that's fucking horrible. There's loads of people saying, no, he died. He died on his own the night he died. But before that, his band were in with him like every day.
All right, very good.
So it's good to know that.
Yeah.
He didn't. A lot of mine are very sad, aren't they?
They are pretty fucking
all
right, yeah.
Fires, 2 AIDS.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. But, like, I don't know. I could pick, like, artists now that...
like, none of mine are dead.
Yeah, sorry. Right, it's your next one.
My last one. Last one's a big one for me, personally. And I picked Laura Jane Grace from Against Me. Against Me being one of my favourite bands since I first heard them in... the early 2000s, so almost 20 years ago. This was before she was Laura Jane Grace. She came out, when did she come out? In 2012 as being transgender. And before that, it's such a weird, it's weird for me to kind of be reading the story just to get all the dates right. And like, reading stuff that I was living at the time as well. It's really, really fucking interesting because, like, she was putting lyrics into songs that were hints at how she felt before she became trans, like before the name changed, everything, you know, and like the hints were there for all to see. And like, there was even one case, there was a song where she wrote, like, I wish I was born a girl, and my mother named me Jane. Literally.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and like she said herself, like that was her coming out, but nobody copped it. Nobody even in the band said like, "What are these lyrics about?" They just went,
like lads screaming that back, not thinking.
Oh, like now,
what was that line?
like, fucking Against Me are a weird band. They're a punk band, but they're not punk in the traditional sense. They have massive elements of kind of folk, kind of Bob Dylan-ish kind of feel to them. It's a lot of acoustic guitars and like Rickenbackers, jangly, kind of crunchy guitars.
Funny.
But they started off. The first album was called Reinventing Axl Rose. Was the name of the first album. Second album is called As the Eternal Cowboy. Now I started listening to them exactly when As the Eternal Cowboy came out, and when I realised they had an album before that, I ran out and got that. Now, those two albums in particular, I own multiple copies of those.
Really?
Multiple. Like
I think I saw you. Do you have a yellow copy of something? Probably. I think I saw you open up. I think I saw
like multiple copies of those albums on different fucking pressings, different labels. They were signed to Fat Records, which is Fat Mike's fucking from NoFX, his record label. He recently came out as a cross-dresser. Actually, as well.
Fat Mike did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Been cross-dressing his entire life, and now he's like, "Listen, I'm fucking old. I don't give a bollocks. I'm just gonna wear."
Yeah.
He was like, "I don't wear makeup because it's a pound of bollocks, but I much prefer to be wearing high heels and dresses." So he performs on all of them now. So Against Me, like Jesus, like I'd never heard anything like this band. Never ever. Still to this day, I still haven't heard bands that sound like this group. There were bands that were doing it, but not as big. There were kind of folky punk bands like Ghost Mice and stuff like that were doing the rounds. And they were like, when they say kind of folk punk, what they meant was it was just a lot of crusty bastards with guitars that would play in every toilet for a pint of Ulmers and a packet of fucking dry roasted nuts. Like fucking Against Me were the first band that actually had like real instruments, big songs, like fucking the songwriting is just fucking 10 out of 10. I can't describe how good the Against Me songwriting is.
I need to listen to more Against Me.
Yeah, you have to. Like, they got so big they got picked up by Warner Brothers.
Jesus.
Jesus
Christ, Gar.
Jesus. Warner Brothers picked them up, and they done a couple of albums with Warner Brothers. They done an album called New Wave. I think it was their fourth album. Yeah, fourth album. I think it's called New Wave. Now, it gets shot on a bit. I think it's one of their best, personally. I think it's one of their best because there was so much money pumped into that studio and the production that they were able to do what they wanted. This song that I picked is called Trash Unreal. This song is off that album. And this would have been probably their biggest hit, realistically. It's amazing, the song. It's so fucking good. It's disgraceful. It's their biggest song. I think they have better songs, but this is a perfect introduction to the whole concept of it. It's not growly, it's not shouty, it's singy, but it's a bit raw. It's definitely kind of got this poppy kind of vein that runs through it. It could definitely be like someone like, I don't know, fucking Foo Fighters or Queens of the Stone Age. It could definitely in that kind of alt rock bracket, Once they kind of signed to Warner, like the punk got torn down a bit and the alt rock got torn up, or got a bit more kind of Smashing Pumpkins-y or something like that, But he, listen, this is such a fucking weird thing that the band didn't know that Laura was trans. He never opened his mouth, and
except when she sang it in the song.
Yeah, exactly. So she lived.
You know what though? Do bands ever talk to you about your lyrics when you're writing? They don't give a fucking shit.
No, nobody gives a bollocks. Is it done? Record it. Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Like, no one gives a bollocks, really and truly. Like, I'm sure there's some bands that do, but she was living that fucking kind of cocaine and gargle lifestyle for a long time as well.
Yeah.
And what she was doing was she'd take a break in between tours and just like book into like a couple of random motels around like Florida and like just live as a woman for like 8 weeks, and then go back. And then apparently when...
Must be fucking hard to go back to not when you're
very difficult. Now,
when you apparently, had that like big sigh of relief of being yourself and then go, fuck, right, here we go.
Apparently when that Warner Brothers deal was signed, she just said to herself, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be a woman. I'm a fucking man. and I'm just going to live as a man, and I'm married and I have a child, and I'm not fucking around anymore. Like, forget it. I was just going to do it, and kind of just lived that fucking punk rock lifestyle. Off
just
the back of Warner Brothers.
Just turn away from it and not
just
follow
fucking,
it. Yeah.
Exactly. Just, I'm in the band. I'm a bloke. People fucking like me. I'm a handsome man. I'm married.
She
children,
probably thought, like, this is going to fuck my band up.
Yeah, 100%.
Not just for me, but for...
Oh, yeah, for the rest of the people in the band as well.
That's fucking harsh.
But apparently, done a tour, came back and said, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Ended up getting divorced, then got married again. Got married, had another kid, I think. And I think they're getting divorced now as well, just because it's obviously a complicated life to have somebody involved in. When you're trying to figure out what's going on touring, and then
but touring alone, I'm sure, is like it's just violently fucking hard.
Now she was raised in a military family, and so there's an awful lot of kind of pillar to post stuff there as well. Right. So she lived like everywhere from Ohio to Germany to fucking Texas, Pennsylvania to fucking Italy, like all over Europe. Ended up moving. It's just real weird.
Military based kid, yeah.
That does people do some people a lot of damage.
Couldn't do that.
It was actually interesting when her mother and father got divorced. They were in Naples, Italy, and Laura went with the mother and brothers back to the States, and they ended up moving to Naples, Florida. Lived from Naples, Italy to Naples, Florida, and that's kind of where the band were based out of Gainesville.
I wonder if they picked that on purpose, like if they had a choice between two places. Like, well, we've already I
have no idea. I think Florida.
Laura, you're still living in Naples, kind of.
Florida's a weird state. I think people just kind of jump around an awful lot. Well, it's obviously mad weird because of fucking
Florida, because it's Florida.
Because of Florida. I'm trying to read me on writing here, but yeah. So yeah, where she came out in the song in 2007, nobody fucking noticed. Now it's an interesting dichotomy of fucking values that's happening, because she's still in Against Me. They're still writing kind of punky, folky, aggressive music, but she's also releasing solo albums, and she wrote like a themed album for Against Me called Transgender Dysphoria Blues.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah, I gonna be straight with you. I don't think it's a good album. I don't think it's good. The stuff before it, White Crosses, with the album before White Crosses is interesting. I think White Cross was the first album when she was out. It's decent. It's a little bit Dylan-y for me. It doesn't have the aggression that I kind of wanted, but yeah, now she's kind of doing bits of surgery. I've had a kind of, what do they call it, feminine reconstruction surgery on her face there recently. So going the whole fucking hog on it. But Against Me are still such a big band, and I don't think, because they're in that kind of punky, fucking kind of anarchist type of world, I don't think they lost any fans because of that fucking change. I think
like they would have lost fans naturally, as any punk band would have gone. Like,
well, as the band evolved,
like let's say there's been no change at all. They're still going to be, unfortunately, gaining fans by the day. But a band like this are losing. Any rock band from the 2000s is now losing fans. But if they can hold a loyal fan base through,
definitely have a massive loyal fan base, and still like as big as they ever were.
That's good,
Like, I think they left Warner.
Big. Look at this fucking,
they were huge.
Millions of listeners.
Huge.
Even on that Transgender Dysphoria Blues album, millions of listeners.
Oh yeah, like that band are massive. Fucking monstrous. Like they played like the Tonight Show, fucking fucking Saturday Night Live, like, you name it, every television show.
Yeah,
across the board. I seen them 3 times. The first time I seen them was in the first time they ever played Ireland, which would have been off the back of the second album as the Eternal Cowboy. They played the Project Art Centre on the Keys, which would be down near O'Reilly's where you were. And at that stage, it was almost abandoned. There was nothing there. It looked like a car park, just a concrete room with nothing. And the band just ran extension cables from the walls into the middle of the floor plugged everything in and played.
Yeah.
And it was just like independently ran, independently operated gig, like €5 on the door, that type of thing. Second gig was on the New Wave tour after they signed the Warner, and it was in the Button Factory, and it was like sold out in 10 seconds. It was just, forget it, sold out. I had to use every connection I had in the world to fucking get in there to see that gig. And it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
You got some connections, by I tell you, you do.
It was so fucking, it was incredible. And to this day, I'm sick and I never bought it on vinyl because that album is worth fucking hundreds of euro. It's impossible to find. It's like, the last time I checked, it was like €600 for a copy of that album on vinyl. And I'm sickened. I was at the fucking, like, the tour for that album, and I didn't buy it.
Maybe they wouldn't have had it in Ireland, though.
I did. I remember looking at it. I bought t-shirts and hoodies.
Sorry.
I still
make it feel better.
Yeah, I still have the fucking New Wave t-shirt, and I have a hoodie and everything. I never fucking bought the album. I'm sickened because I have all the other albums except for New Wave. It's just too hard to find. I have the rest of them. I even have like singles they released when they were like independent and all. Like, I've always loved this fucking band. Always loved this band. They're like in me top, let's say 25 of all time. And listen, that's it. That's fucking Laura Jane Grayson against me. I think everybody needs to give this song a shout. Give it a shot. If you like this song, then you can go kind of into the more kind of folky, melodic, singy-songy end of their back catalogue, and you can go into the fucking kind of aggressive, fast, upbeat. Like, none of it is, it's not punk in the traditional sense. It's not fucking, it's not like, there's none of that. It's not like that at all. It's all fucking, think of like Bob Dylan and Crass got together and decided to fucking write an album. It's complicated and it's fucking amazing. They're so fucking good. And hopefully they continue to be so good, because the world needs a band like Against Me. In it really does. Who was your last one?
My last one is George Michael. I had to pick George Michael.
You had to.
I'm a massive fan. And I don't think I've ever picked George Michael on a podcast. Have I?
I think you have.
Oh, I probably have I?
No.
Have I?
I don't know. Can you check? I don't know. You can't search individual playlists.
I'm not doing that now. I should have done that before, but I didn't. Anyway, I picked Praying for Time because it's one of the best songs ever written. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Praying for Time is an absolute grade A plus with a little star beside it. Banger. His real name is Georgios Kyriakos Panayiotou. There you go. Did you know that?
I knew we had a weird fucking Theolonkios fucking name, but I didn't know that was it. Yeah,
his parents are Greek, or maybe it's just his dad. I picked him because he's possibly one of the biggest selling gay artists of all time. B, I'm fucking mad about his music, like solo. And C, it's his birthday today.
Oh, very good.
Happy birthday! Well, you know, it would have been his birthday. But I've been only picking
in the afterlife, lad.
I've been only picking artists who died.
Yeah, your list is super fucking grim.
I only noticed that after the list. I was like, fuck, man, shit.
Here's me, Johnny Positivity and all.
Well, to be fair to Cole Porter, like, he lived a very long and healthy life. Well,
that cunt had agony fucking bar his physical pain.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So it's a bad example.
Can't believe how fucking long that lad lived. Like, right. Jesus Christ, Spanish flu and all, like all of it. Like, fuck me, man.
But again,
many different types of money did he have to use?
Mad money. But like he had mad money. Look, George Michael has sold 115 million albums in his life. He did in his life. Everyone knows him from the early days of Wham. Anyway, I don't really like Wham.
No one liked Wham.
I think Last Christmas is a banger, but then Wham rap and stuff is like 84 minutes long.
That Wake Me Up and all. Like, they're grand, but it's shite.
But it's shite. Like, that's what the difference is. Like, it's when he became a solo artist that I went, oh, these are fucking deadly, because they're a bit more rock. Like, Faith is the first album.
Oh, yeah, great.
It's more rock.
Yeah.
And
he looked cool as fuck as well. Like,
sorry, but he did, man. Looked cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Absolutely cool. Here's a mad thing, right? He said in 2004, this would have been 5-6 years after he came out. He used to sleep with like a lot of women in Wham.
Oh yeah,
but he never felt any emotional connection to them. He could sleep with a woman like all the time, and he did. But he knew that deep down he was gay. And I always find it funny that when people make like a joke about George Michael being gay, he's probably slept with more women than they ever will.
Cash Money has. Cash Money. 100%. 100%. And
That's
everybody who ever gave out about them, even if you combined them, he's probably fucking slanged them or fucking dicked them. Yeah.
And like the only reason I mention it is it's not an amazing thing to mention. I'm just saying in their world, their currency is sex with women. Yeah. He's already ahead of you.
Yeah.
So using your own fucking weird barometer
logic,
back against you, he's robbed more mutts. So take it or leave it. His first three albums, man, are fucking my favorites. Really are. Like there's a few after that, it gets a bit sketchy. To be honest with you, it's very. He's had two albums in between that. But they're never released. He's kind of person that took an album with no. Not good. I know there was a big deal with Sony in there as well. So in '87 he released Fate, which is it's a good album, but it's nowhere near as good as Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1, which is the one that starts with Freedom. He was kind of breaking away from that image that he had in
Freedom's a whopper.
Kind of Fate. Fate had fucking Father Figure on it. And Father Figure is one of the best songs ever written.
As well.
He's mad into his middle eights. That's why I take a lot of inspiration by having a part in the song where it just changes key, changes mood, tempo, even maybe not tempo, but like the feel of it, and it comes back in. It just refreshes. I love his songwriting, and a lot of people didn't know he wrote and produced all of his own stuff.
Very good.
Played a bit of piano as well, but like I said, we found out that he was gay. I was actually surprised. Looking back,
it would have been as well.
Everyone says, "Oh no, you knew." No, he didn't.
No.
Like, you look back, you're thinking, because he would never. He had girlfriends. He had like a high-profile girlfriend at one stage.
I don't think there was stuff in the press ever about him either. There was just that thing that happened, and that was it.
Well, that's what happened in 1988. He was arrested in America for public lewdness. Now that cop was a scumbag, an absolute scumbag who tried to sue him for like distress for seeing a dick in a toilet.
Oh God!
Imagine. Oh God! He even wrote a book about it. I think he tried to make as much money as humanly possible. That's a proper scumbag cop. To be honest with you. Like, anyway, look, we remember that it was massive news, and the idea of him coming massive news. You see, they could tie it together with him being arrested for lewd behavior. Yeah. So they could tie it into that. But if they were just coming out, that wasn't the story. That wasn't the story at all. The story was George Michael's gay.
Yeah, of course.
It was all over everything.
Yeah,
but. If you remember what he did a couple of years after that, he turned it in his favour.
Yeah, made the video.
Released that song Outside where he's dressed as the cop. And the urinals turn around and they're all disco ball urinals. Yeah. And it's a real fuck this, man. If I'm out, I'm out and fuck you. I'm a massive fan of him, even as a person. He's a hugely good dude who gave he gave writing credits on Careless Whisper to Andrew Ridgeley, even though he didn't write any of it. Because it was as a kind of parting gift for leaving Wham. It's you're gonna get he'll get money from that. We get money for Last Christmas or the rest of his life, Andrew Ridgeley. For Careless Whisper as well. I thought it was a nice little touch, and they would stay friends for a very long time as well.
Good.
He gave massive amounts of money anonymously to charity. And it only came out after he died. People went, he's dead. And he never wanted me to tell anyone, but he, just so you know, he gave this amount of money to this charity and stuff like that.
Deadly.
And there was a waitress in, I think it was America. He saw how hard she was working. He left her a massive check for her tuition and stuff like that. He was just a fucking good dude.
Yeah.
I just love interviews with him. If you ever watch interviews, there's an amazing episode of this God, I have to find the name of it. It's a show where George Michael, Morrissey, and Tony Blackburn are all interviewed about current music that has just come out, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy because they'll say stuff like, "So you're sitting beside George Michael here. You wouldn't be too into his music, would you, Morrissey?" He's like, "Oh, it's not really for me," and all this. Kind of looking down on him, because he was Wham. But the way George Michael handles the whole thing is fucking amazing. Yeah. They talk about the album that had come out at the time, which was Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures, and George Michael is fucking mad into it. Yeah. He's like, "This is beautiful." It might have been Closer. It might not have been Unknown Pleasures. Yeah. And he's crazy into it. And at the time, I think, you see Morris looking over going, "Am I being out-cooled here?" Do you know what I mean? Morrissey's a horrible cunt in interviews, man. Years ago, he had this smile on his face, where I'm doing this. But to watch interviews with George Michael, I swear to God, listen to this lad talk for hours.
Yeah.
Hours. And like I said, His greatest hits is phenomenal. It's one of the best greatest hits of all time. That Ladies and Gentlemen, the double disc. I remember when that came out. I was working on Golden Discs, and it was stacked. The stock room was just Ladies and Gentlemen by George Michael. Yeah. Oh. So it coming out didn't do any harm at all.
No, I don't think so.
I'm sure it comes with its own problems, and a lot of his private life was then in the public eye.
Yeah.
A lot more reporters then because they could find more on him.
Of course.
Under the guise of him being arrested, which wasn't, like I said, the... Well, look,
would have put the spotlight on him as well for people to fucking... kind of follow him more and fucking dig up anything.
Yeah.
You know?
But look, I think he sold 115 million albums, but to me and people I know, rockers, let's say, he's massively underrated. Underrated.
Yeah.
And not really considered to be good. I remember even when he died, a few people posting, George Michael wasn't even that good. But yeah, on the day he died, Christmas Day, he died in 2016. I was like, fuck, I had to school a load of people on how good he was.
Yeah, I remember.
Fucking hell.
I remember. I'm losing our mind.
But look, that was our Music of the Rainbow.
It was.
I don't know how well we handled that, but look, that's it. Now take it or leave it.
It's done now. It's done. We'll be back next year for another one. For all of our fucking holidays and parade episodes.
So wherever you are, enjoy Pride however you can, I guess.
Yep. The usual shit, you can go to facebook.com/Lost Art Podcast. You can go to patreon.com/Lost Art Podcast if you want to throw us $5. There's no option for euro. Just
$5.
Yeah, $5 a month. You're not alone. There's a couple of people on there. We have exclusive content. All of our links is on lostartpodcast.com. Do us a favour. If you don't want to pay any money, that's grand. Just share it out. I say the same thing every week. Just share it out on Facebook. Comment on the Facebook page. Comment on the Instagram, the Twitter, whatever. Just do something. Do something for us.
Do something. Don't do nothing. Don't listen and go, that was deadly. Yeah. And then not even tell one person about it.
Yeah, don't ever do nothing. That's no use.
I'm not going to lie to you. That's mad harsh.
It is. It's rough because there's thousands of people on the Facebook page and I see the streams. There's thousands of people listening to this podcast and you might get like a comment every fucking 3 days. And it's not cool. Get involved. There's a little community. There's a million in-jokes that people are talking about.
You actually love those in-jokes, but get involved and make your own ones as well.
Yeah. And, exactly. That's it for this week. We will be back on Saturday with our normal live show, which is running until fucking things kind of get back to normal. This bullshit is over until me and Helmet are back in work properly. We'll see you next Monday for another podcast, and we'll see you on Saturday night for drinking loads of gargle and talking more shy. See you then.
See ya.